We are here now, and thank you for joining us. Can you tell us? You have a race. There's a race happening in Miami-Dade County. I actually lived in Broward County for like 15 years, so I'm really familiar with your area and a lot of the people who are interested in your race. Your race has taken on national implications, and that's why I wanted to bring you on. Tell us a little bit about the seat that you're running for and some of the things that you're running into in the area.
Well, I'm running for chair of the state Democratic Party. And if you know anything about Florida, and as you stated you do, you know that we have our challenges with elections.
Yeah, definitely.
And so this has been a very interesting race that's actually taken me from Miami all the way up into Northwest Florida to a little county called Gaston County, where they've shown me some love in the last couple of weeks and allowed me to represent them in this statewide race to be the next chair of the Democratic Party here in Florida.
Wow. I was mistaken because I thought the seat that you're running for not the seat rather, but the office that you're running for was I can't even think of it right now. My mind is drawn a blank. But you're running for the entire chair, and you're right. Like what I remember the most about the Democratic Party in Florida was our uncanny ability to lose races that should have been easily winnable. So they definitely need some help in that. But you're running into some mighty serious opposition, some direct attacks to you, to your character, and I guess that's all to be expected in the world of politics. But can you tell us, as much as you feel comfortable, tell us about some of the hurdles that you're running into and the pushback that has been either surprising or shocking to you?
Well, I mean, the absence of haters means you're clearly not doing your job correctly, and so it's to be expected that folks are going to come in and try and make things difficult. I think the thing that makes this race a little nastier than other ones is it does take on personal issues that folks will try to mischaracterize you, tear down your character. But I've been around politics too long to let stuff like that stop me from the ultimate goal. And the ultimate goal is, I want Florida to be a better place. We have folks come down, enjoying our beaches. We have folks, coming to Disney World or Universal. We have folks, planning their whole vacations around here. But then our politics is not reflective of this social melting pot where folks from multiple cultures, multiple parts of the world converge and call home. And so what I want to do, what I'm attempting to do is bring a level of diversity. I mean, we've never had an African-American chair of the state party, even though Democrats make up a significant chunk of the state party. And so, I want to bring the same flavor that I know all too well from not only my culture, but culture from around the state to,
absolutely,
to the party, so that they fully understand the importance of respecting everyone's beliefs, ideologies, stations in life, etc.
Right. And one of the things that stands out about this race to me is the national implications. It's almost become a bellwether for a lot of people who are disillusioned with the Democratic Party. I mean, it's not a single day that goes by. And I guess it's probably because I have a lot of connections with Florida still, so it could be sampling bias. But it's not a day that goes by that I don't hear people say, particularly about Keith Ellison and this supposed endorsement of your opponent. They don't say that this is as an indicator for them of whether or not they're going to remain with the Democratic Party nationally. Tell me a little bit about, and this might be just on the purview for you, right? This might be on the periphery rather for you, but it really has taken this real big significance to a lot of progressives. Where are you at on that? I don't even know. I'm sure you're aware of it, but I don't know how much that even plays into your calculus.
Well, the reality is that progressives have been, especially over this last cycle, really trying to fight for the heart and soul of the Democratic Party. Making it a party that understands that the wage is too low and the rent is too high. A party that understands diversity is important. A party that understands, having a healthy respect for our differences, and more importantly, embracing those differences to empower us moving forward. And so, as this race has developed, it's really unfortunately become, your progressive wing versus your establishment wing,
right,
for a battle of control of the party. I've been a Bernie Sanders supporter. I've been a Barack Obama supporter, and I fundamentally believe that there is the necessity for the change of hearts and minds, not only in the Democratic Party but around the country. Unfortunately, Haight elected our current president-elect, but I believe if we have a better functioning Democratic Party, we don't have to worry about those things in the future.
And so here's the number one question that will come to mind from my listeners would be, why? Why should we even give the Democratic Party another chance? Why should we, after what we saw, what happened with Bernie Sanders in the primaries with the emails, after we saw the swift voting of Bernie Sanders and Keith Ellison in his race for the national chair, the cries of anti-Semitism, like there's been a lot of things that have happened that have made people, a lot of black people in general, but progressives as a whole want to walk away from the Democratic Party. And here you are, you've suffered some of the same type of accusations. You've gone through some of the same type of drama and smear campaigns, and yet you're holding on to the Democratic Party. So it's a two-part question. Why? For you, and then how would you convince other people who have exited?
Well, that's just it. We can sort of be mad on the outside and organize from the outside, and I've done that. Much to the chagrin of folks in the Democratic Party. I've been the activist politician, but I believe that there needs to be a functioning alternative to what looks like a very, very problematic Republican Party. And if the Democrats are going to be that, then they need to have a reckoning internally. And so that's my push. That's my desire. That's my want as a candidate running to change the party is, how do we make a party that works for everybody? We can talk, I'm a believer in democracy. So if there's a well-established third party or fourth party or fifth party, I'm fully supportive of that. But I've been a registered Democrat for all of my adult life, and I don't want to see this party lose sight of what it was intended to be in this 21st century modality or thought process. I want this party to be a party that is diverse, that is reflective of electing a Kenyan American raised by a single parent in Hawaii. It doesn't get much more diverse than President Obama. And I think rather than running back to the party of old, we need to understand that we're a party that should be reflective of just that, that someone is that can, move from Hawaii and end up in Chicago as a field organizer has just as much opportunity to be president of the United States as someone who, quote unquote, is from the right family and went to the right schools.
So I don't know how much time I have you, but if I could get you for maybe 5 more minutes, I want to drill down there, right? I want to drill down because you've outlined two things that are very important. The first thing that you mentioned was that your race has become the establishment versus the progressive wing of the party, and you're fighting against some mighty strong headwinds from the establishment. Do you? And I don't want to ask the question of whether or not you feel like you can win, because I don't think you would be in the race if you didn't feel like you can win. But it seems like let's just be clear. The establishment does not want the progressive wing of the party to be progressive, right? They want our votes. They want our support, but they don't want our progressivism. And so how are you going to, let's say you win, and we're pulling for you, you win. How are you going to, you're going to almost have to dismantle that type of establishment thinking. I mean, you're one person, and I hear you, I believe what you're saying, but you're going up against some mighty strong forces that really don't have progressivism at their core. What's your game plan?
Well, the game plan is, I always believe fundamentally in the quote by Frederick Douglass, which is power concedes nothing without demand. It never has and it never will.
Mm-hmm.
And so this in essence is my demand on the power structure of the Democratic Party to change. And I think in Florida, unlike other states, Florida was sort of the victim of its own success this past cycle. You know, we patted ourselves on the back for voting for President Obama twice,
mm-hmm.
But not understanding that there were some critical failures and missteps that we made in off years and even in down ballot races. And so we, as Democrats, we have a lot of egg on our face that we're trying to wash off from 2016. And so I think being at that low point, being at that point where, you can't really get any worse off, allows for folks to better appreciate a changing of mentality, a changing of idea. And so folks want to hold on to their old guard mentality. That's fine, but the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And now there are folks, even within the establishment infrastructure, that recognize the way they've been doing business and how they've been running campaigns is fundamentally flawed.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to give an opportunity for something different. And I have no, whimsical expectations about what I can or can't do. Here's what I know is that, like any sports franchise, you have to believe in the idea of winning and
mm-hmm.
winning with a fundamental change. And so one thing that Bernie Sanders folks were guilty of is they were true believers. And that's the power that I think we possess over our more jaded establishment counterparts who kind of just have been going along to get along, accepting things as they were, is that even they're at a point of frustration. And so when you bring those two universes together, people who are, at their lowest point and people who are true believers, I firmly believe you can make amazing things happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is the last question, and I might get in trouble, or I might get you in trouble. I don't know, but let's drill down one more layer down, and feel free not to answer this question if you don't want to. One of the main things that we have, that I personally and many people across the country have a problem with, are Democrats who, in many ways, are they vote and they carry themselves in a way that supports economic policies, social policies that are detrimental to progressivism directly. You could take North Carolina with the HB2 bill. It wouldn't have passed without 13 Democrats who signed on to this bill that was transphobic, as well as a bill that was against trying to suppress the increase in minimum wage on a city by city basis. And then in Florida, you have Senator Bill Nelson, who, he's done some good things. But one of the things that jumps out in front of me right now because of the conversation on Obamacare was he was one of the senators who voted against the public option because he felt like that was going to be a means of getting Republican votes. Well, we've seen coming full circle that's just really that bit us in the ass. So you become chair of the Democratic Party of Florida. What do you do, or what do you say to those establishment Democrats who, on issue by issue, they may vary, but on a particular issue, they don't carry themselves any differently than a Republican? Because we run into that, and that's a problem. What's your game plan?
My game plan is to remind them that if they ever want to win another election, they need a coalition of people who don't look like them. And that's the cold reality, is that the Democratic Party is now a party that consists of black and brown, LGBTQ, people who have disabilities, and that their issues need to be addressed. They're no longer willful acceptors of the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
These are folks that are now demanding that their issues be dealt with. You know, when Black Lives Matter strikes up a chant, they want to know that you're committed to ending police brutality. You know, when folks talk about accommodation for LGBTQ youth or adults, they want to know for a fact that you're committed to not ostracizing these people. And so for that reason, you know, I'm just simply trying to tap into that energy and that demand and give those voices that have oftentimes felt voiceless or crowded out
Mm-hmm.
an opportunity to be heard loud and clear that here's what we want. And so, you know, I have no misgivings. I'm not trying to come in here like a superhero and think I can save the world. What I am going to do is make sure a space is provided for folks who felt the Democratic Party was not their party
Mm-hmm.
to finally have a seat at the table.
Okay. All right. You know what? I mean, so for me, I hear everything that you're saying, and I applaud everything that you're saying. I know the kind of headwind you're going up against there in Florida. So, you know, best of luck to you. I also, you know, our Democratic Party, and this is why your race is so important. Because it's a similar race to that of Keith Ellison. And ironically, it's just, you know, there's a lot of things that's happening with his supposed endorsement of your opponent and whether or not he actually even did that. But one of the things that sticks out the most is the fact that we need a voice, a series of voices in the Democratic Party, on the left, not even just the Democratic Party, on the left, that will not erase the intersection of the working poor, of people who need just the working class, the economics of it. I think our Democratic Party is pretty good at giving the appearance of intersectionality, like you mentioned, but I also think that it's just an appearance. So the fact that you want to address that directly, specifically in Florida, right? Like I know what you're up against. I know the racial makeup of the Democratic Party in Florida. So I agree with you there. Dwight, I want to thank you for coming on and speaking with us. Tell everyone how they could find more about your campaign and give some last words.
Well, I definitely want everybody in the listening audience to understand that you have to own your own power and understand that you, as Gandhi said, are the change that needs to be seen in the world. And so I think it's fundamentally important for folks to, not allow their power to be usurped or cast upon by folks who have more money or have more perceived influence.
Mm-hmm.
You are the power broker. And so I encourage folks to check me out at Dwight Unites. One word, Dwight, DWIGHT, Unites, UNITES.com. Find out about the campaign, get involved, become an influencer. But for those that are listening nationally, step outside the box,
Mm-hmm.
and don't be afraid to demand fundamental change in whatever your universe is, whether that is at your school, whether that is at your job, whether that is at your community center or church, synagogue, you name it. Because folks, on the side of right, on the side of righteous, deserve to be heard and should have a pathway to do so.
Dwight, I like your enthusiasm. I like your sincerity. Don't let them make you jaded, man. You keep pushing for progressivism. You keep pushing for the least among us, and you'll keep getting our support. Thanks so much for coming on, man.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. 857-600-0518. I'm obviously going to have to go into overtime to cover everything that I wanted to cover tonight. But it was a great conversation with Dwight. And, I'm going to be honest with you. Unless you have some people who are still idealistic, and I don't use the word idealistic as an insult whatsoever, but listening to him, he has not been jaded. I'm jaded as, well, I haven't cussed all day, so there's no need for me to cuss now. I'm jaded as hell. right? I don't believe in the Democrats. I don't think the Democrats are going to actually be able to do it because I don't think they want to do it. And that's why I don't run for office. I don't run for office because I'm jaded. And if the Democrats ever have a chance in hell of actually becoming a progressive party again, they're going to need some idealistic people who are willing to put skin in the game and go fight the fight against the establishment. So I know Florida well. I got involved in Florida and I got close enough to realize I don't want to be involved. So I know Dwight is facing some serious headwinds down there. So good luck to him. And don't let them take your joy, bro, because they definitely are going to come for it.